And you're not even lifting your foot off the ground. You're sliding along, but you're trying to keep the heel off the ground. Now, if this is too easy, then you can start to pick it up. You can do this with the walkers right in front of you as well. It's going to make you hunch forward a little bit, which is going to throw your balance off a bit more, but it is doable. And so this is just about getting the activation of the muscles that you want. Because in the long run, the way we would walk naturally in the grass without any shoes on whatsoever is from the ball of the foot, then the heel hits the floor, and then it comes back off, and we push back off with our toes. That is the most natural gait, and if you watch a 3-year-old, it's about what they do. Right? So, as they are refining their ability to walk, and then they're at their peak, they are completely nature-driven. There is nothing artificial in their life. They are not trained to walk like that. This is how they are supposed to develop neurologically. And so we want to try and recreate that. Last one is probably going to be, if you've been walking for a long time, very rigid-legged, this will be the easiest. And it's not the most necessary, but in the idea of being complete, it is helpful, and that is to try and stay just on the heel. Again, I make these things look very easy. They're not. I've been doing them daily for years. I've been teaching them daily for years, and so they come very easily to me now, but there was a time when I struggled. Now, there's a few things we can do with just a simple bath towel. First, your toes need to grip the ground in order for you to walk without them. So get them to scrunch up the towel. And then, once you got a nice big ball underneath your toes, start pushing it back out and flattening it back out. These can be done sitting anywhere. I do recommend doing it on a hard floor. Doing it on a carpet does not work. I've tried. A couple times, scrunching up. Believe it or not, this is actually even people with plantar fasciitis. Back out again. And after we've exercised your toes a little bit, we can take this, hold it right back up. Now I came up with this because I don't like pushing products. I don't like pushing gimmicks. I don't like giving people things that they're going to use for one purpose and nothing else. It takes up space, collects dust. And if you forget where you put it, now you got to spend money and order it again. So you take a towel, you fold it up into a nice tight package. It actually works out as a great stability trainer. And for starters, keep both feet on the floor and just shift your weight over top of it so that the foot that's on the stability trainer is directly underneath your breastbone. It's going to be doing something. Your foot's going to have to move a little bit and adjust because it's carrying most of your weight. And as you get more brave, slide your other foot forward and just keep your toe touching the ground. Again, do you mind if I borrow one of those? So,
I'm just going to stand up like this.
That one's yours? Thank you very much. Can be done. Yep. Keep it right within arm's reach. Keep the wheels locked. And you can even pick your foot up off the floor. Now, after working our way up to it, I got John standing on a Bosu ball. And for those of you who don't know what that is, people without ataxia have difficulty standing with one foot on a Bosu ball. And so you can work your way back up to an awful lot. And this might seem intimidating today, but working your way up to it, you can stand here nice and easy. And if this gets too easy, you can close your eyes. That makes it a heck of a lot harder. There's all sorts of very simple progressions to this so that you can keep challenging and stimulating your nervous system. The reason why we want to do that is because, let's say that it's working at 80%. We want to stimulate as much of that 80% as we can to prevent it from degrading or to slow it down as much as we possibly can. We don't get control over how your ataxia progresses, but we can exercise as much of your nervous system as is working on any given day. And so it's not so much a matter of controlling your output, it's controlling your input. Once you get it so that you can bring your leg up forwards, now we're going to swing it back. This stimulates the glute muscles, which are the major support of your low back and head. They help hold your upper body to your lower body. You work on bringing it out to the side. And these, as I said, I'm pretty sure that if I asked John to do it, he's probably a little bit rusty, but he could probably stand on this pad and do a couple of reps of each one of those. He also beat the crap out of us in a plank competition. So
yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, he can hold a plank longer than anyone else I know. No, he went up for 5.
He went for 5.
Yeah, because I cracked out at 4.5. These things, you've already got them at home, right? It's just a matter of taking them and using them to your benefit. Once you have those 3 different directions, it coordinates all of the different support muscles of your lower body, right? When you're talking about walking, as soon as I lift this foot off the ground, the glute muscles have to fire, the inside leg muscles have to fire, the quads, the hamstrings, they all have to balance out in order to keep me from meeting the ground. And I might be able to stay here for probably quite a while with just 1 foot on the ground. But you're looking at increasing that distance. That's how you know it's working for you. The longer you can stand with just 1 foot touching the floor and neither hands on your walker, the better you know you're getting at it. And so you start small, you start with the limitations that you have, and you progress forward. So those things have all been focusing on strengthening, stabilizing, and coordinating the movements of your legs. You get to the point where you can actually stand on 1 foot unassisted. Again, use a wall, use a railing, doesn't matter. The idea is to start rhythmically swinging the leg. This is not going to be as easy as it looks. You want alternating muscle groups to fire in a rhythm, in a pulse. Think of it just like a ticking on a clock. It's because we want the gait to be at an even keel. That's going to allow you to get from point A to point B easier, more efficiently. And so, working on that, we're also going to get the same thing going with the feet. Now, this one is, this one's going to pose a good bit of trouble for a good long period of time. It looks deceptively easy. It is not, even for somebody who has no neurological problems whatsoever. That is to start off on the ball of 1 foot and on the heel of the other, switch them back and forth in a rhythm. You're marching in place. Again, we want to break down the steps of walking naturally into simple, easy to do exercises. So, ball of 1 foot, heel of the other, rock and switch positions. This is the kind of thing you can do standing in line at the checkout counter. And believe me, I am totally shameless. I will do exercises standing in line at the checkout counter. I will stretch when I'm sitting at a red light. And even though it might look funny, with me doing some chin tucks while I'm sitting at a red light, I really don't care because the person in the other car isn't going to say anything. If they even notice, I'm not going to see them again. And if you're in line at the checkout counter and you're doing a few things while you're just waiting, it gives you an opportunity to make the person next to you aware of what ataxia is. And that in and of itself is pretty powerful. So now we're going to get a little bit into the flexibility aspect of it. And If I had thought things through probably a little bit more, I would have brought one on my table so that I didn't have to lay on the floor, but wouldn't be the first time. Thank you very much for allowing me to borrow this. Alright, my other extremely high-tech piece of equipment, as I said, is the strap off of my duffel bag. The reason why I use it is because it's got a pre-built loop. It's usually not that uncomfortable. It is more comfortable to use this than a belt, although if you're in a pinch, you can use a belt for the same thing. We're going to go through a series of stretches for all the main leg muscles, and you can hit every single one of them with just this strap. Put the loop around the foot. We're going to start off with the hip muscles, work our way down the legs, so that way we don't lose anything in the process. First one, you want to bring your leg up as far as you can towards your shoulders, and then pull through with the strap. The idea is to go through your whole range of motion with every repetition, and only hold for a few seconds. That particular process of stretching, going through the range of motion, using the muscles actively, and then stretching only for just a few seconds, is a particular type of stretching pattern. And it works very good with uncontrolled muscle spasms. So when you don't have control over the resting tone of your muscle, how tight it is when you're just sitting, not doing anything, it works good at shifting that. The idea is you want to do 8 to 10 repetitions for each muscle. So first one, knee to your shoulders. The second one is going to be knee to your elbow. Right there, we've got 2 of the largest hip muscle groups. Hamstrings, we break into 2 sections because hamstrings have 2 different jobs. They bend the knee and they extend the hip. So we're going to get the part that it bends the knee first. We're going to start right here like this, straighten it up, and pull. The reason why we hit the far end first is because after we've gone through and done that, we're going to keep the legs straight, point the toes up towards the nose, kick it up, and pull. Loop the belt around underneath the ankle, and we can get it right down the inside of the leg. Loop around the outside of the ankle. This is why I said that I'm going to work with John about creating videos, because you guys aren't going to remember this in a couple of days. Even if you're able to take videos with it, you might not remember that you took the videos in a week or 2. If you're anything like me, you'll put them in a super safe place and then forget about it for 6 months.
Are you lifting your shoulders off the floor?
Nope, actually I'm keeping my shoulder up. The reason I keep curling up is so that I can see it.
Understand, that's why I'm asking.
Oh yeah.
The shoulders.
Nope, you want to keep the upper body relaxed
Okay.
and on the floor. And so now we can slide it across, and we're getting right down the IT band. Which, by the way, is not a muscle, it doesn't stretch, but you are using it to stretch the muscles that are above it.
Can you do this sitting up?
It's easiest to do laying down.
Because I have severe vertigo, so.
You can do it laying on a bed.
Okay.
Which is why I said if I thought a little bit more ahead of time, I would have brought my table. You can do it from a bed, you can do it from a couch.
Okay.
It's not so easy to do from a chair, but there are a lot of other options. You don't have to get to the floor.
Okay.
All right? So right now, we've just hit here, and here, back here, and up here. Right? So next we're going to hit the calf, because all of this can still be done while we're laying on the back. And so you point your toes up, and you pull. The idea is activate the muscles that are the opposite of the one you want to stretch. So if you take it in the direction you're going to stretch it in first, your nervous system actually shuts down the muscle you were intending to stretch just a little bit. And we're taking advantage of that. Last one is going to be the hardest one to do by yourself. All of these are pretty simple. They're not too challenging to do solo. The last one is the hardest one, and you have to do it laying on your side, which is why I suggest bed over couch. It just makes it easier for you to turn around without. Again, in the quad, the two jobs, so we're going to stretch it in two parts. It straightens out the knee. We want to pull back. And it also flexes the hip. So we want to actually get a hold of the leg if possible and kick back. Now by default, when you're stretching your quads, you're actually stretching your shin muscles at the same time because you have to point your toes down. And so that will get these along with these. You'll feel most of it up here, but just trust me when I say you're working these as well. And so that right there hits every major muscle group from your waistband down. Doing the entire routine takes less than 20 minutes. But you can ask John his opinion on these stretches, because I shared them with him probably his first day in the office. And they are very beneficial. The key is to keep doing them.
Well, can I ask a question? Will they help with cramps? Because when I flex in my feet, I get a lot of cramps in my calves.
Is he heading out? Is John?
Isn't it
Next as well.
Yeah, well, he has. If he's good about doing exercise, it does seem to help him.
Okay. The best thing would be to ask him because he does have the same problem. If I remember correctly, when he was on a routine and stretching daily, I got to harass him about that one. It did help out the cramps quite a bit. And
About cramps to the stretching.
when you were stretching,
Yeah, it helps
Temporary
me.
all the cramps.
I get cramps in my calves.
Right, yeah, and I do too. So when I first started doing, especially when he went onto his stomach, and that was the most toughest one for me. Sometimes I would have to worry about a Charlie butt. Once I did it, and if I kept doing it day after day after day, that didn't happen. If I stopped for 3 or 4 days, went back to it, it was amazing how fast I was back to that point that I was. So you really need to keep up with it. And so the hamstring is the hardest muscle that stretch.
hamstrings are a challenge for everyone to stretch, and that's because they naturally tighten by simple things like sitting. When you sit, you are actively shortening your hamstrings, and so the more we sit throughout the course of the week, the tighter our hamstrings get. So, as I said, going to work on creating some instructional videos on how to do this, make them freely available as I want.
We've been saying for a while.
We've been saying it for a while. We were in the kitchen when I announced that I had it done before we were here. So, we're going to make some videos of how to go through these step-by-step instructions, and just like here today.
You can stretch your hamstrings so much that you can do this, and you can sit on the beach and have everybody with you.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't have to worry about it.
Some people, she took a photo from behind and says, that does look creepy. But it works. But you gotta stay in.
Stretching is kind of like showering. It doesn't last all that long, and that's why I try to do it daily.
Shower or stretch?
Just want to be clear on that. And the reason why is because, alright, if you've been stretching every day for a year, right, you can go one day, and no one's really going to notice, yourself included. Just like if you shower every day, you could probably skip one day. Depends on how active you are, but one day. you start skipping a few days, you're gonna notice. And the same thing goes with stretching. If you stretch every single day, you can miss a day, and no one's gonna notice. You won't feel a difference. But if you miss a week, it'll really start to affect you. And once you get to the point where you have good flexibility, as good as you can possibly get, you're not going to let that go. Yes?
Prior to videos coming out, is there any videos, like materials that we can look these things up?
Actually, the stretching, yes, there is. The type of stretching that I was doing, by the way, I didn't invent any of these things. I've just applied them. I've learned them from other places, and I've applied them to a problem at hand, and they seem to work well. The type of stretching that I was just doing is called active isolated stretching. Created by a massage therapist down in Florida. His name is Aaron Mass. Sorry. And the reason why I've taken a minute is because the person who taught me, who actually instructed me, was a partner of Aaron Madison's, but not Aaron himself. So Aaron does not come to work all that often, but I learned it all the way back while I was in chiropractic college, and I've used it for a wide variety of problems. Since it does work pretty well, what I like is that it does have simple to do home stretches for patients that don't require much of anything special. You may be able to find videos on YouTube on how to do it. With YouTube, take it with a grain of salt. You know, it doesn't take any credentials whatsoever to make a YouTube video. So I do know that Aaron does have a home DVD if you guys really want to. You know, if you're in a hurry. But otherwise, that's a particular type of stretching.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
What was Aaron's last name?
Mattis is M-A-T-T-E-S. And it's called Active Isolated Stretching, AIS. Yes?
Hand pros, do you have any exercise or procedures to help
So work with
just a little bit like a screwdriver?
Yep. Yeah.
Just a little something.
Actually, my best bit of advice with that is two-part. One is head down to
That's
EMS, Eastern Mountain Sports, if you're in a hurry. Otherwise, order it on Amazon. It's called Power Putty.
Power putty?
Power Putty. And so what that'll help you do is that'll help you work on grip strength in and of itself. But then the other thing you want to do is work the forearm muscles, which all control your fingers. And so you can do the same type of stretching. What you do is you bring your palm up, push through the base of the fingers first, and stretch back. Again, repetitions. Then you're going to move up to just the fingertips because it's a separate muscle. Work down as well. Curl the wrist down and push through. And then ball the fist and do the same thing. You don't have to push through the hands because I'm pretty sure every one of you can make a fist properly. But if you ball the fist first and then stretch down through, you'll pull through a new area. You don't have to press directly into them. The reason why I go with this type of stretching method for you guys is because it works with the nervous system as much as possible to give you any advantage you can possibly get on stretching the muscles. Muscles don't necessarily respond to brute force. I could bring in, it's called a grasp tool, and it's not pleasant, and I can work on every single muscle that you guys have, and you would feel very sore the next day, but more flexible than you've ever felt before. The only problem is in 3 days, you'll be tight. It goes that quick. And so instead, if we take a more gentle but simple and home-based approach, the Grand Canyon was chiseled out by single drops of water traveling through the ground over and over and over and over again. It's amazing what repetition can accomplish.
Could you repeat the reference that what was that called?
Oh, the stretching, it's called active isolated stretching.
No, the next one, the one.
Oh, the power putty is what it's called.
Power putty,
And power putty is to build the strength of your grip muscles.
okay, thank you.
And if you get it off of Amazon, I think you can get the entire set with all the different resistances for maybe $14. You're very welcome. Any other questions that I haven't been able to answer? I will be here throughout the whole time. So, you know, if you think of a question later, I'm not leaving it until you guys are all done. Okay?
Great.